Hello, folks, and welcome to Old Ass Movie Reviews. I'm Dave, that's Scott, and today we're going to review Yankee Doodle Dandy, James Cagney, 1942.
42, yes. 42.
A musical biography of George M. Cohan, the freaking genius musical writer, director, actor.
Oh my God.
Dancer, singer. The guy was phenomenal.
He was.
I didn't realize how phenomenal he was, but I really forgot how phenomenal James Cagney
There
was
it is.
in playing George M. Cohan. You didn't see this. I remember telling you that James Cagney was a song and dance man, and you were like, "What?"
I know.
So what did you
Okay,
think?
so
How did you?
here's the thing. Ever since the last Cagney movie we watched, Public Enemy, or was that it?
Oh,
yeah, the Public Enemy, yeah.
I think so.
Or Public Enemies,
Freaking
Public
great.
Enemies. He's freaking phenomenal. And I said at that time that Cagney on screen is effortless, meaning you don't see the man act. You believe he is that character 100%, and it's like he's not even trying. Now, let's add some song and some phenomenal footwork and dance. The man floats across the screen, the stage. He's light. Dude, I see why you, seeing this as a kid, said, I want to do that. And that's
I it's funny because I was talking to Kat last night when we were watching it, and when he starts to dance, Cagney, in a way, folks, would, when he tap danced, he'd get on his toes and he looked like a marionette.
Yes.
Now, a marionette, for folks who don't know what one is a puppet attached by strings, which is what Pinocchio was originally, you know. And there's a song, I got no strings to hold me down. And the way that Pinocchio dances is just kind of, it's like a marionette
I
with
now
no
believe
string.
that because
And that's what Cagney looks like when he's dancing. You're like, how is this man moving like that and not falling? How is he not falling flat on his face? He dances on his toes.
he's light.
Did the parkour off the wall in one scene. Nobody was doing that except the black dance troupe. I think it's the Mills Brothers. I want to say, I could be wrong on the name. Sorry. There were several really big, just tremendously great dancers back then that would do things like that. But Cagney, you could see, you saw when he was getting ready to dance by his demeanor, the way his foot would go out and start sliding forward or go off to the side. And then you're like, this is it. It's coming. This guy's gonna break bad, and he does. He starts dancing, and it's just amazing. It's just, for me, I'm like, I wish I could have tapped.
Oh my God!
I wish my parents would have put me in dance class at that point.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Not fine dance, not ballet. I wanted to be James Cagney when I saw him in
well, absolutely
as a kid.
And I just want to talk about that. There's very few that are called triple threats. They sing, they dance, they act.
Yeah.
Cagney is probably the top of that, at least from what I have seen so far.
Oh yeah.
There's a few that come to mind. Of course, John Travolta is another one, but he's not Cagney.
Yeah.
Cagney is a god. Is the only thing I can say, dude. I have never seen anything like it on screen. So he's amazing.
The difference, and it's a weird thing because I love John Travolta as a song and dance guy, especially you see him in Grease and you're like, man, he's phenomenal. But the comparison of the two is Cagney never looked like he's acting. Yes. He's just, when he starts talking or being a character, he's the character. Yes. There was one really cool thing. I hope the kid's name is here. The little boy who played him as a little boy, Douglas Croft.
Oh, he did a great job.
He played. Did you notice the cadence of his voice?
Yes.
It was the first thing that I noticed. He used the same cadence that Cagney used.
Well, that's why it seemed so perfect for the casting. Yes.
and I didn't know whether, or I wish there was somebody to ask. I don't even know how to find this out. I wish I could find out whether the kid was told to do that or whether the kid just picked up on it on his
Mhm.
own. Because the kid was
Yes, he
great.
was.
I mean, he was such a little
He was
shit.
perfect.
And the scene where he's trying to do the business deal after the old man tells him to shut up and keep his mouth shut, don't
Totally
get
screws it
behind the
up.
damn curtain and shut up, don't say a word. The kid screws up the business deal that the dad's got building with
He was gonna go on
this
tour
big
from
entrepreneur.
years or whatever. Yeah,
God, yeah, they would have been set for at least like 4 years, five
yeah.
years of nothing but the family. They would have been headlining, and it was a tremendous amount of money. And the kid comes out and blows the deal by,
Being a kid.
you don't know who I am. You don't know, blah blah blah. And finally, the dad's looking at the mom. He's like, "I told you, you got to discipline." She goes, "I'm not supposed to discipline. The dad's supposed to, and I'm just supposed to say when to discipline." And dad looks at the mom. And he's like, "Well," she's like, "It's time to discipline." And it's funny because at first he grabs the kid's face and he's gonna, yeah, he grabs the kid by the face,
So
right? He's gonna like just
yeah,
slug the kid. And she's like, "Not the mouth. He's got
yeah.
to sing. Not that. Yeah, he's gonna do something to the legs. Not the legs. He's got to dance." So the guy's like, grabs him, throws him over his lap, and just starts slapping on the ass. He goes, "This is the only part of your body that's not talented." And just starts beating this shit out of the
Yeah.
kid. And I was just dying. Like, that kid had
Oh,
that
yeah, he did.
coming, man.
Yeah, he did.
That
And the
kid
thing
had
is,
a
he knew it.
beating.
He knew it. He knew he had it coming. Um,
Yeah, that kid didn't have anywhere to go either. He had no friends in that room at that point.
yeah. Up until this movie, I knew nothing of George M. Cohen. But
And you still
I
don't.
still don't really know much other than he produced so many shows that he pretty much had Broadway packed. And I love
Right,
that near the end where they're showing Broadway and the camera's just panning around
right.
and you're seeing every theater has a Cohen production in it. That was brilliant.
Well, it was supposed to be the time lapse because it was
Oh,
a
okay.
year, and then they would show the
Okay.
play, and then they go to another sign, and it was a year of
Yeah.
whatever. And but the way that camera was
That was
moving
so
was
good.
really
Yeah.
cool. That was a nice piece of
Yeah.
cinematography. That just that camera movement, and then it went like across the building and down the street, which was a movement that wasn't
Mhm.
used a whole lot. I mean, that was
I forgot the
that was a good
cinematographer's name, but
shot.
one of the things I recall about him, he was a Chinese American, which surprised me. And
I'm gonna see what if I can find that
he
guy's
did
name
a
right
hell of a
now.
job shooting this movie because it is beautiful. It is very well shot, very well set, very well choreographed,
Yeah.
acted, sang.
Yeah, James Wong
That's it.
Howe.
James
Because I
Wong.
remember Kat and I
Wow.
looked at
Yeah.
each other and I was like, that guy's got to be Japanese. So James Wong, that's
He's
Japanese,
Chinese.
correct?
Chinese.
Chinese.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know
No,
names.
I had looked him up when I was watching it because I was like, who shot this? And it's like, oh,
Right.
there was a surprise.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, this cat was.
He did a lot.
Dude, he lived until 1976. He was born in 1899 and lived until 1976. So he was 76 years old when he
Yeah.
died. 1899.
Wow.
Wow.
Saw a lot of shit.
Yeah, that's crazy. But that's James Wong Howe was a
Yeah.
cinematographer on that.
Very talented. Everybody was talented.
Oh,
But you're right.
very.
You brought up a good point. You know, I said I didn't know anything about Cohen until this movie, and I still don't. You're right. You really don't get too much. It does a good job of, you get a sense of his character. You get a sense
Right,
of what is really neat to see how he grew up in a vaudeville family who was touring. They
right.
were all the big families were. Of course, I instantly think of the Von Trapps every time I see a little touring family. So
Yeah, yeah,
so they did that kind of thing, and it was just really neat to see. Okay, here's the takeaway I got from the movie. I really enjoy seeing that when he does what he was basically born to do, he shines. When he
oh,
tries
yeah.
to please the critics and do something without music and without soul, without heart, he bombs. And I
Right,
think that's an important lesson,
right.
and I'm really glad they covered it the way they did. You
Yeah.
did not warn me that I would need to have tissue nearby for this movie. So,
Oh, when he goes to see his
yeah,
dad?
yeah. Holy cow,
That's
Cagney nails it again. My heart broke for him, man.
man,
It's like, damn,
I know,
damn.
I know. That's crazy.
And and
Uh,
the end scene with him marching and singing his song with the troops,
with
and he's got a
I like
tear
the guy
running
looks
down his
over,
cheek.
"What's wrong, old
Yeah,
timer? Don't you
don't
know
you
the
know the words?
words?" I'm just like, "Really?" I'd have looked at his ass and said, "Son, I wrote this
Which
song. Are
brings
you
me to the
kidding?"
text that I got from you that the teenagers really cracked you up. Yeah, that was a funny scene.
Yeah,
You know,
they're speaking their
oh my
jive
god, it's like
of the
just like
time
it's like
period.
when I hear kids today, it's like, what? What that's not,
Yeah, what the hell are you saying?
now I sound like an old man. Get off my lawn and start speaking English. It's like, well, no,
I'm gonna go yell at
I'm
clouds
gonna go
now.
yell at clouds after this podcast. But yeah, so it was so funny. They had no clue who he was. And that was a point in
But
him.
that girl was a the little girl was adorable whenever they all start singing, and she's getting ready to leave, and they're all very nice to the guy. They're all very
Oh
nice
yeah,
to him. They're not mean. But whenever they're leaving, she turns around and goes, "It's nice meeting you, Georgie
you're
Porgy,
cute.
and you're awfully cute." He's just like looking at her like, "Kid, you have no idea who I am. You have no idea." And it was a good scene with the
Yeah,
generation, the
it
gap
is.
between the generations. That movies were the thing at that point, and when
It
George M.
was
Cohan
plays.
was
Yeah,
coming up through the ranks, it was all theater. So he couldn't put together why how could these guys not know
right.
who I was? It's because they were on that's like me not knowing people on
Yeah.
YouTube, you know? I have no idea who I mean, people talk sit there and talk about people, and I
Well,
have
I hardly
no
know
idea who
anybody
they're
on
talking
Broadway
about.
now, so it's really not much different.
Yeah,
That's not my scene. I love
yeah,
a good musical, absolutely, but it's just not
yeah.
my thing. So one of the things I thought about this is interesting, folks. This movie, of course, is kind of a biography, and it's
Mhm,
I think it's just really neat that he focused on his patriotism and what it
yeah,
did during wartime with his patriotic songs and how that can bring
mhm,
people together or give them something to get behind. And I thought it was just really cool. And I don't know where my thought was going with that, but it was just a neat thing to see on that. And when he
right.
went to court that or try and get that famous singer to be in his play,
Oh, the big
yeah, she wanted
actress?
nothing to do with
Yeah,
the patriotism and stuff like that, and
right.
until she heard that song.
Well, she thought it was all
Yes,
corny.
yes,
She was like, "Yeah, this is just
yeah.
corny. People,
But you
that's
know what?
passe, blah, blah,
That's
blah."
where his heart was, and it showed, and it worked, and that's why he was so successful.
Yep.
And that's damn. There's a good takeaway from this.
That whole thing, and I love the fact that he told her she had to loosen up and be funny, and she was just so offended. But did you notice during the first song that they show her singing of
Mhm.
his, no, maybe the second song where she's getting on the train, when she pops the suitcase, it's all her underwear. It's supposed to be the character's underwear all landing, and all the guys are picking up her now we'd call them just long pants,
Yeah.
basically, but they were supposed to be her frilly
Oh well.
underwear, and the men are picking them up, and she's like, "Ooh," she's trying to be all like, "Oh my," and then the guy hands her the corset
Mm,
at the end, and she's like puts it behind her back, and it's all very coy, but it was all stuff that he told her, "You've got to loosen up. You got to basically let the people know you're a human
mhm.
being," you know. And she was all offended initially, but by the time she's with him for a while, she starts loosening up as an actress and as a singer. She's like, "Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. The people, I have to give something for the people to like,
Right.
to
Hey, I
admire."
got
And I thought that was kind of
a
interesting.
question just popped in my head. Now, his partner was his name Sam Harris?
Yeah, Sam
Okay.
Harris.
Now, unless I'm not remembering correctly, isn't there a big music store called Sam Harris? Anyway, I'm
I don't
going to look
know.
that up as we
I
talk.
don't recall. Sam's maybe
Yeah, I
maybe
don't know. I don't know. For some reason, my
there is. there is something that his daughter wrote or daughter had said. Um, he was married twice, and his second wife's middle name was
Ah,
Mary. She went by her first name Agnes.
Sam Goody is what I was thinking, not Sam Harris. I don't know what my problem is.
Sam
Yeah,
Goody. Okay, right.
Sam Goody, Sam Harris. Yeah, we had old ass movies have now entered the Alzheimer's zone.
I'm already there. Um, yes, this is he first name went by Agnes. In fact, the movie deviated from the truth to such a degree that Cohan's daughter Georgette commented, "That's the kind of life Daddy would have liked to have
uh,
lived." So I don't know how much. I think maybe the big swipes, like who his business partner
yeah,
was true. All the plays were true, but I think that the minutia was
yeah,
probably
and
just,
you know,
not
it's
quite there, which is fine. The guy was an American
yeah,
hero. Who cares?
it's neat. And now here's a question I have about his scene with the president. It's almost as if it was ADR'd, like the president's voice was added in after the fact. Why does it sound
No,
so weird?
this is the first movie with sound that had a sitting president in it. Not it wasn't the real
Oh,
president, but it
right.
was somebody
Hmm.
being the
Yeah.
president. And I'm thinking that the voice was added, but added at the time because the guy sounded a lot like
Hmm.
FDR.
Well, this is an audio issue.
But
It's not.
it was the
Yeah.
character, the acting in the
Yeah.
voice that didn't work. And I'm guessing it was
Well, that's
ADR'd
what I'm
later.
thinking. It
You know what
was
I mean?
put in, and it sounds like somebody recorded it with no emotion, and they were just reading. And it's like
Right,
this is odd, and it pulled me out immediately every time. It's like something's wrong with
right.
this. This doesn't sound right, and it also has a different audio quality. It doesn't sound like it was recorded on the
Mhm.
same mics that Cagney's talking on. So it's like something's wrong here.
Yeah, that's the problem with the 1940s and stuff. And I don't know if you can even
No.
fix that today because what I watched was the updated, pure, really
Yeah,
nice
I did too.
version of it. I mean, that this thing looked like it was what I was watching last night. Looked like it was filmed
I know it's
2 days
beautiful,
ago.
man.
Like
It's clear.
that. God, it was such a nice copy. Oh, so nice. But I'm thinking, I'm assuming that the guy talked to Cagney on
Yeah.
set,
Oh,
that they
I'm sure there
interacted and all the
was,
acting
but
was
the voice
there.
was changed. Yeah.
They probably just had a bad sound with
Hmm.
that guy. So he either that actor went in and redid it, or they had another actor go in and do an
Yeah.
imitation of the president at the time. And he just couldn't do the
Yeah.
acting bit. Like he got the
Something wasn't right.
voice,
Yeah.
he just couldn't do
But
the acting.
the
And that's a
yeah,
minor thing because he's only in
it
it
is
for
a
like
minor
two
thing. It
minutes,
was just
3 minutes
something that,
probably
it
top.
really stood out, and it's like, wow. But, that's
Oh
just
yeah,
what
yeah,
ADR adding audio after the fact is very common. It's
right,
very necessary. It's going to happen in every single production damn near. So, because you're always missing something, you know, somebody
right.
ate beans and now I can't get this out of the recording. So,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
got to go put somebody else's voice in.
There's a squeak in
There's
the
a squeak
chair
in the
and we
chair.
have to
Yeah,
redo it.
exactly.
Yeah. Um, the this is how good Cagney is. At the end of the movie, he's walking. First off, I want to say how cool that one butler
Yes.
was that meets him at the front door of
Oh,
the White
yes.
House.
He knew
Guys,
him.
like I saw you and your family, X amount of times back in the day. Oh my God, you guys were fantastic. Now this is a black butler who's come down to
Mhm.
talk to this guy. He's and Cagney's like, oh wow, this is really great, thank you. And Cagney as James is Cohan is like, wow, that's really nice. I thank you. And the guy's like, yes, sir. I was supposed to be off like 4 hours
But I
ago,
stayed,
but when I
yeah.
heard you were coming, I stayed. I wanted to meet you and tell you how much I appreciate all your work. And you see the character of Cohan, played by Cagney, just kind of taken aback by this guy, like you work at the White House. You are
That's
like
when he's really getting
the
a
main
sense of how big
guy.
of a deal he
You're the
is.
main butler of the White House, and you stuck around to meet me. Like he was humbled
Oh,
by that.
absolutely.
You know, you could tell that the character, and I have a feeling that's kind of how Cohan may have really
Mhm.
been. At least I like to think that's how Cohan
Sure.
really was. That when somebody that is that upper echelon says something like that to you, and you're like, wow, thank you. That means a lot. But when he's coming down the stairs after he meets the president, he gets his medal and he's coming down the stairs, he starts dancing
Oh,
down the
that is
stairs.
phenomenal. How he dude.
Ad libbed. He ad libbed it. He wasn't supposed to do it. He just was like, well, I got one more chance to dance. And dances down the stairs. And I was like, I'm watching him do it. And I'm like, if I tried that,
It's insane, dude.
I would fall, tumble, break a hip. I'd be in the hospital for
As
6 months and have a Zimmer frame for the rest of my life.
yes. It was amazing. It was amazing. He is so fast, so light on his feet. I love how they
Yeah.
found their first producer. They found their first bit of money. Um, that was
Yeah.
slick. He and Sam became friends instantly, and because they picked up what the other one was putting out, and they just rolled with it. It was beautiful.
That's what I. Well, do you know who Sam was initially? Did you catch on who he was
Well,
initially?
wasn't he the guy that came in at the same time he was trying to sell? Yes,
Yeah. Okay. Because I wasn't sure if
yes,
you had caught
yes.
that. That is so
Because they
funny
come.
because he sees the guy later on, and he's like, he goes over and starts throwing out shit. Yeah, no, no, you and I, we gotta go. We gotta go meet this guy. And at first, Harris hasn't picked up on what he's doing. He's like, what the hell? And at first, I thought Cagney's character was trying to get rid of
Yes,
Harris to
yes,
get
I
in
thought so
there,
too.
but he saw a move because that guy got thrown out of the same place that he got thrown out
Hmm.
of. I'm going to help this guy and I'm going to help myself at the same time. Hey, we got this other deal. Come on, come on, come on. And then the guy's like, well, wait a minute. What do you mean? My money's good. And he's like, no, no, no. Somebody's wife's money is much better. And the guy's like,
They
wait,
were
whoa, whoa,
all
whoa,
they
whoa,
talked about was
whoa.
each other's
My
wife's money.
wife's
Yeah,
money is just as good
my wife's money.
as
Yeah.
his wife's money. None of these guys had their
No.
own money.
Well, and then the place that threw them out and that other and threw out Sam, those two were funny. There's a lot of comedy tucked in this movie. There's a lot of quips, a
Oh
little
yeah.
lot of little sarcasm, little
Oh
funny
yeah.
bits. Um, it's good. I really enjoyed it. It's just given a chance to watch Cagney work. Uh, I don't have much more to say about him.
There is one more movie that I would like to eventually watch for sure, and I haven't seen it shit in 30 years. It's called
Hmm.
Ragtime. It's James Cagney's last
And
movie.
roll it on
He
in.
was probably in his 70s or 80s by then. I'm not sure how old he was, but it was his
This
last
is this
movie.
is this the Scott
Uh,
Joplin story?
don't remember. It might be. It's been, like I said, it's been like 30 years since I've seen this, and I only saw it on its initial run on HBO back when HBO was special and you could only have it on like HBO. You had to get that special. You had to order it. Um, but yeah, eventually I'd like to do Ragtime.
Okay.
But if you folks get a chance to see White Heat, uh,
Yeah, White Heat. I forgot about
Ain't
that
No
one.
Pretty Faces,
I
do
forgot
what?
about
I'm
White
sorry.
Heat as well.
Yeah. Oh, White Heat is.
I don't
Oh,
know why I was
the
thinking
White
Scott
Heat is
Joplin. I have
where
no idea. I have no idea what this movie is about, but we will definitely do Ragtime sometime this year.
White Heat, if you remember in Johnny
Yes, I remember
Dangerously,
seeing.
when they're all in the
Yes,
prison and they're
you
all
were telling
whispering
me.
down
Yeah.
down the prison thing, and it gets to Johnny, and he's like, "Oh, so and so is going to kill so and so." I didn't say that. He goes, "Yeah, but I know this line." That White Heat is where they get
Oh,
that
awesome.
from because somebody gets a piece of information and they all whisper it down. Johnny's mom
Yeah,
is, you
Johnny and the
know,
mothers are
sick.
playing at the
Mommy got,
Savoy.
and it gets down to him, and he starts the riot to get out, and it's just so damn funny. Like the White Heat is not funny. White Heat is just super serious psycho killer guy is what he plays. And that was I think that was his last movie until he did
Ragtime.
Ragtime.
Yeah, we will definitely
I
have to
think
check that
if I
out.
remember correctly. And he owned a farm in New Jersey.
Really?
He owned a big farm in New Jersey. like, yeah, like horses and cattle and stuff. I mean, he that's what he liked to do. He was a song and dance man who liked to farm. And a lot of people would just look at him like, "Oh, why don't you go to Hollywood?" He's like,
No, I
"Nope,
don't blame him.
got no interest in living my life in Hollywood." Guy lived in New
Yeah.
Jersey. And I saw his house one time in a series. I didn't drive by it, but I saw his house in a documentary of his. It looked like a very pretty, very nice house, but
Mhm.
nothing that you would put a Hollywood guy of his iconic status
Right.
in. You know what I mean? It's just like, holy crap, that's a nice place, a nice bit of property. But man, folks, if you're gonna watch Yankee Doodle Dandy, it makes you proud. It really does. Like I'm sitting there watching this going, man, I'd love to have that kind of feeling back in our
Mm.
country
It's a good
again.
movie.
I don't know if we'll ever get it, but it would be great to have it because this guy, Cohen loved the
Mhm.
country. He
Yeah.
did. He loved everything about
And it
it.
shows. And when he put his energy to it, that he created some songs that we still know today. And
Mhm.
he's immortalized for this. I highly recommend Yankee Doodle Dandy, but go ahead, you were saying?
Oh, no, just as you were talking, and this is something I was wondering about, and it just showed up. And it says, despite his failing health, George M. Cohan acted briefly as a consultant on the film. I was wondering if he lived long enough to
Oh,
see the
wow.
film. And it says he lived long enough to see the finished result and approved wholeheartedly of James Cagney's depiction of himself. How could you
How
not?
could you not? Exactly.
I mean, it's all fantasy for you anyway. So
And
how could you not say,
Cagney,
yep, that's exactly what I wanted? But man, to be able to meet the guy,
that had to be something for
to be able
Cagney.
to
Can you imagine how
be
he felt to be there?
so
That's like, wow.
that's what I mean. Like to be playing the character and then to meet the guy, you're like, holy
Yeah.
cow. I grew up listening to all your songs. I know you. That's amazing. Like that just did me in.
Yeah,
I got a tear. Really had some tears.
absolutely. Yes. So we here at Old Ass Movie Reviews highly recommend Yankee Doodle Dandy. James Cagney, 1942. Phenomenal movie. Honestly,
So
if
good.
Cagney's in it, it's going to be good. I can't
Mhm.
imagine not watching something with him or, watching something with a Cagney in it and thinking, oh, this is
Right.
bad. No, this man is phenomenal. Um, wow.
Nope. Never did a bad movie, I
Wow.
don't think.
You know what? Even if he did, if he dances like that through it, I'll watch it.
Right. Right,
I
right,
mean, what
exactly.
can you say? Just absolutely phenomenal. That's my take.
So
Dave,
good.
amen.
Ditto.
Can I get a witness?
Yeah, amen, brother.
Yes.
No, that's great. It's Cagney, it's song and dance Cagney,
Yes.
and expect it. It's
That was
brilliant,
unexpected for me when you
extremely.
told me, and it's like, let's watch. And it's like,
Yeah,
oh,
it's
you
cool.
just
It's
wow.
cool. I'm glad you
Wow.
liked it.
So folks, if you like our show, please drop us a line, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, give us a share, subscribe. Just help us out. Just say hi. We love doing this, and we'd love you to come along and just give us a chat. So tune in next week when we have something else old from two old asses at Old Ass Movie Reviews.
Other
Other
than
than
us.
us, other
That's
what?
older than us.